People do always ask why the orange stuff, aside from liking the color orange, it's hunting season, and depending where I'm filming at, I have to wear orange. And so I'm gonna keep some around, keep my hat on. But other than that, I need to talk to you about this barrel. This is a JARVIS 18-inch match chambered barrel. It's a 0.92 thickness, and I'm running a can on the end. I'll be talking a lot more about cans and their impact on accuracy and all that in a separate video. First, I need to just talk about this threaded version from JARVIS. Really great performance, and I should jump right to what I saw. And I think I can show you this first. So I'm gonna take a picture of this and kind of zoom in so you can see it better while I chat. But my first group here that I'm gonna show you was actually from my testing with the factory barrel. And so with the factory barrel, that was a 16-inch varmint contour. It's like a 0.89 pretty much all the way through, if I remember right. And it was 68 degrees. I had no wind, and I was testing with Wolf Match Extra at 50 yards with this group right here. Now, that's not my best group. I feel like it could do a little better than that, but those are 10-shot groups a piece, and that's what I came up with that particular day. And so I'm not gonna make excuses, I'm just gonna go with it. That was it with the factory barrel. For 10-shot groups, you know, it'll probably hit most targets in a competition, but you'll certainly miss some. And if you're shooting a KYL, you're definitely gonna miss some. If you're hunting, you're gonna make most shots with that. CZ makes good barrels. I don't wanna diminish the quality of their barrels, but that's just not quite what I was comfortable with. I needed to see something better. Very often I could hammer out a decent 5-shot group, even at 100 yards from time to time. I shot really decent 5-shot groups with my 16-inch, but that was from time to time. The consistency factor just wasn't there, and I was pretty much limited to Wolf Match Extra. A lot of other ammos out there didn't perform quite where I wanted them to. Some of the SK rounds could do pretty well, but as far as bulk ammo that I could get a lot of, SK Rifle Match and Wolf Match Extra were some of the better produced groups, and yet I was getting flyers, I was getting inconsistencies, and the balance of my rifle was not sufficient. So I was kind of displeased with that rifle the more I got into it, and the more I competed with it, quite frankly, looking at competition shooting especially. So that was my standard there, 3 10-shot groups, and I'll leave it where it is. I won't make any more excuses. It can probably do better than that. I can probably do better than that. Maybe you can do better than that, but in general, it's 3 10-shot groups, and I just will leave it right there. I think a lot of us, if we're being more honest, that's what our factory barrels are gonna do when we get 10 shots together instead of 5. And you know, it's usually not perfect conditions. This particular night was a little calm, actually. It wasn't very windy. Today is very windy. Okay, moving on from there, I took that barrel off. Immediately the first thing that I noticed was balance improved on my rifle. Now I did throw it in this chassis after that as well. This helps a lot. This is a Gen 2 MDT chassis, the ACC chassis, and thank you to Pete's Pillars for sending out the chassis and the weights to help this balance out a little more. But one of the main factors is the barrel. And quite frankly, the chassis, the weights don't matter if the barrel shoots like crap, or if it's not threaded in my case, because I really wanted the option for a match chamber and a threaded end so I can hunt and compete. And this guy gets it done. It's a really, really nice fit on the Gen 2. I think this is the little bit shorter front end on the chassis, and it meets up so nice. I'll show you some close-ups of that later. Start talking about groups that I got later on with some testing. So this is at 75 yards using SK, oh, this was SK semi-auto. Interesting. I didn't realize that till now. So that's pretty consistent with what I saw most recently. Here's another one. I'm going to show you this. SK semi-auto at 75 yards, and these are all 5-shotters, if I remember right. Yes, they're all 5-shot groups at 75, and trying to compare, oh my gosh, night and day difference. And that was with, it looks like 5 to 7 mile an hour winds. I don't remember what direction it was that day, I'm sorry. Judging by my target, it must have been a tailwind, because these aren't really blown off side to side too bad. And then I did some Wolf Match Extra, and there's still a couple flyers. in that Wolf Match Extra. Could be the ammo, could be me, but I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing here between those two. So I kept that target because I think that was a good representation of what to expect. And this is early on. This is really before I had many rounds through the rifle. I did let some friends take this rifle and break it in with, actually I think it was Federal Auto Match or SK, maybe it was SK Standard. Anyways, I let them break it in for the first few hundred rounds. Here's another target. Forget the sighters on this side. I tried some Normatak 22. This one's at 50 yards and it was 52 degrees, 7 to 10 mile an hour winds. I have really struggled to get any windless days at all. It's been a very windy spring, and with forest fires going on over here in my city, it's just hard to get to a place where it's not on fire or windy. Anyways, looking at this target, Normatak 22, you know what? It's okay for hunting. It'd probably be okay for base class expectations, but Normatak 22 as an ammo is not a match round, and so it performs just good but not amazing. And it was windy, it looks like. I mean, that's really pretty windy. 7 to 10 is what I'm dealing with right now for the most part. It's pretty windy to shoot 22 even at 50 yards. Looks like Lapua Biathlon has potential, and I've shot 2 boxes of Lapua Biathlon, and I tried to save it for a less windy part of the night. It's been hard. It's been really hard to get conditions that were conducive, but I'm seeing extreme potential for good groups, like those 0.3-ish size groups. Wolf Match Extra, definitely some wind dispersion on occasional groups. I can definitely tell it was really windy that day. And then SK Rifle Match, pretty good potential. Those are tight groups. That is smaller than my pinky nail right there. That's probably a 0.3. It's under ½ inch for sure, so sub MOA. And then even with the flyers, it's reasonable. And I would actually say I'm pretty happy with that. In the wind, you can't expect too much. Here's another target. This was 50 yards. It says windy. I wrote on here it was really windy. And I didn't say how bad the wind was, unfortunately. Norma Match 40 grainers. It's not clear to me. I've had really mixed results, and oh, by the way, important point, can't believe I forgot to say this, all groups, every single group was shot with a can on the gun for what you're seeing here. That was the one thing I wanted to be consistent because it's threaded, and some of us are going to be curious about threaded performance. Every single group was with a can on, and I didn't see dramatic changes due to the added weight on the barrel. There's always a little bit of a first round pop with this particular can. I'm actually upgrading cans, and I'm going to do a second video just to see what that performance is like. Anechoic suppressors, they have their Anecho X they're sending out. I should have that in my hands in less than a month. And that can, the design and the weight of it is probably going to be a better performance than what you've seen here. Anyways, Norma Match, just not sure what to do with Norma Match. I'll have to try out some more, but I see really bad results and occasionally acceptable results. So maybe don't waste your time with that. Maybe try some of these other rifles combinations first. So at 50 yards in the wind, let's see, I got a 0.56, a 0.75. I probably wasn't real happy with that. The aggregate was, or the average was 0.655 at 50. That's not good. That's painful, but it was windy. And if I was to take out the lateral bits here, the left and right, and just looking at the elevation, actually it's really good. So it is what it is. You bench rest guys who shoot long range will know exactly what I'm talking about. The windage bit, sometimes you can't help it. The elevation is more what I'm concerned about, and it looks like a really promising round, and I'm going to play around more with it. I just ordered a whole bunch more today. Then some Wolf Match Extra, and between Wolf Match Target and Wolf Match Extra, both perform decently in this barrel. Wolf Match Target, I am seeing a lot more for flyers, a lot more flyers. Wolf Match Extra is just more consistent in general, and I'm pretty happy. I've got a 0.333 average group. When I averaged these groups right here, and I did the math just so you guys could see, at 50 yards, in the wind, important part, in the wind, 0.333 average sized groups. Check that out. That is really, really cool. If it was a 0.4, I would still be ecstatic in the wind. And so I know that the potential is very high for Wolf Match Extra, which is affordable. You can get a lot of it. Head over to Natchez, is it Natchez or Natchez? Shooting Sports, Shooting Supplies. That website typically has a lot of Wolf Match Extra, and it's reasonable for price. Let's go back to this target for a second. So now we're on the big tart again, and a couple surprises. Some newbies for me that I've tried out, and I'm really happy with their performance. So today, let's see, what are we looking at here? 75 yards, 64 degrees Fahrenheit, and 10 to 14 mile an hour winds. So it's hard to say if any of this became a tailwind. I was definitely having a push from right to left for wind, if I remember right. Yeah. So I was getting some left to right. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. Right to left wind. I was getting some right to left wind. It was pushing on me, and I did my best to only pull the trigger when the wind was not bad. And here's what I saw for the rest of these groups. SK semi-auto, really, really surprisingly good. It's a little bit faster of a load. I did not have high expectations for it, and I was blown away at the potential of a pretty affordable round. That's definitely one to hold on to. You can see I wrote on here, super windy, and you can tell this is not like the other groups. Very, very windy on this group, but the other ones are showing huge potential, especially right here. Now this one was no wind. This I sent really fast, and I mean, I actually shot those even quicker than I would be comfortable with typically. As soon as the reticle was on the target, boom, 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 boom. I was really fast. I was trying to shoot in that calm moment, and here's what I saw. This right here. That's a tight group. So that is a single hole. It's gotta be, it's under a 0.3 by far, and I'm excited to try more of that 10-shot group with SK rifle match. Not bad, maybe a couple droppers in there, not sure, but it's not bad. At 75 yards, you have to understand, typically, the groups that I was getting, you know, like this. Oh yeah, this was with Federal Auto Match, by the way. With Federal Auto Match and the new barrel, it doesn't love it, and that ammo is not super consistent. It's very fast, the charges are different. But this is what I'm used to getting with match ammo, like good match ammo. And now I'm seeing something more like this at 75, which is really impressive. 75 yards, even though it's only 25 yards more than 50, it's a significant difference for drop. And then also you have more wind time on it. And I'm really impressed at the stability of these rounds to just land right in there. There's 5 SK standard, the yellow box. That's really good. And I had, okay, so I tried out 5 more Norma match. I am just not sure what to say about that bullet. I know I had one windage where it carried it off. I don't know, guys. Norma match. Either it's inconsistent and good sometimes, or it's just the conditions I've been shooting in. I need to go back and play around a little more with Norma match. There's potential there, I just can't tell. What I'm gonna recommend to all of you would be just some of these that I've picked up. Lapua Biathlon, this did pretty well, and I need to get more of it to be really sure how much better it is than others, but this probably is gonna be in the top 3 for sure. Norm Attack, if you're just hunting and you're plinking, this was relatively close for point of impact, but it's not gonna shoot crazy tight groups. SK Semi-Auto, again, it's going faster than I would like, but it's producing really reasonable groups. I need to try this out at further distances than that, but today's 75 yards was sufficient. Wolf Match Extra would be better. I have a box of Wolf Match Target here, and now that I think of it, some of those groups might have been with Wolf Match Target and not Wolf Match Extra. I might have mixed that up a little bit, which is impressive all the more because Wolf Match Target does have worse standard deviations typically. SK rifle match, the red box, if you get some of that, definitely recommended, going to be in the top 3. And the one I'm not sure about, Norma match. All stuff worth looking into. The barrel seems to be not super picky. It is picky enough with a few of the bulk box things. Federal Auto Match is not going to be your winner, guys. It's not amazing. You'll still hit reasonable sized targets. You could probably hunt with it. But when it comes to shooting those tiny groups, and I mean groups like this, right here, this one, where is it? Where is it? Groups like this right here. If you want to shoot groups like that, you need to get into the better quality ammo. And this barrel deserves it. It can produce the tight groups. I'm very happy with this barrel. I have spent kind of a lot of money in ammo just to test this out. And I needed the confidence to know, can I compete with this? Can I trust it? Is it consistent? Am I going to have a lot of flyers? Am I going to get baffle strikes? But you know what? Everything is going really well. Harmonically, it feels very dead. I'm seeing respectable groups with all types of match ammo that I've been finding, some better than others. And the contour itself is going to be pretty pleasing to most of you. It'll even fit in the CZ Industries chassis if you have one of those. This would be my number 1 recommendation for an upgrade, probably after the trigger. I don't know. Maybe that's putting the cart before the horse, but trigger and barrel. If you have an HB Industries chassis on your CZ, this barrel contour will fit in there. Get a $11 spring off eBay and lighten up that trigger pull, and that thing is gonna be a hammer. It was shooting tight groups before in my other chassis, shooting pretty respectable, and upgrading to a better chassis for my size just helped improve things overall. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not even using my favorite target scope. I'm using a Zeiss 4-25 S3, and it's good for competition. It's good for shooting really far in general, but it's not the clearest glass that I own. It's not the best image that I own. It's just a pretty good scope. And I think if I throw on even the Zeiss 6-36, I might eke out a little better performance than what I saw so far. And I have a couple other scopes to throw on, try out, change some things around. But as far as the barrel goes, the barrel is good to go. That's an absolute winner. It is Thor's hammer in a 22 barrel. And I'm going to try out a Nevis version next with some match ammo and hopefully some Lapua and SK brands, and see how the Nevis version of this does. Okay, really quickly, it's cold and windy and the audio probably is gonna suck in here, but anyways, one thing I like about this barrel a lot, even though it's kind of heavy and my rig itself is more set up for gaming and NRL 22, I'm in the hunting stand right now doing some small game, and it navigates around this really well. So I kind of get the best of all the worlds. It balances well, fits in this chassis. It's a solid thick barrel, so it's kind of a dead barrel. Harmonically, it's not giving you problems. And then on top of that, I can actually move it around in my stand, which isn't huge. The floor footprint is probably, it's probably 3.5 feet. And so not having a lot of space here, I'm actually able to navigate around with this barrel, even with the can on. So it's nice having an 18-inch precision, match barrel with good ammo in a hunting blind with me. It's like I said, the best of both worlds. So if you're worried about maneuverability, I wouldn't be. I think this one is pretty solid. So I know that it's pretty dark for you and you can't see the most. That's because the sun is basically setting right now. I'm at 629 yards to my target, and I've got my CZ457 action with that Jarvis match barrel. Next, I'm going to try it with Nevis, but I've got the match barrel right now. I'm going to use Wolf Match Extra because I have a lot of it. Or actually, this is Wolf Match Target. It's not Wolf Match Extra. And at 629 yards, it's a lot of elevation. The Zeiss S3 is pretty well equipped for the most part to do that. I can dial essentially right to my target and hold maybe 2/10 or 3/10, something like that. It's usually a windage factor at this point. The image isn't beautiful, but it works. It gets a little egg shapey, it gets a little weird, but it's quiet enough that you should be able to hear those impacts. and unfortunately I don't have time to set up my target camera. Somebody knocked over my actual channel camera today, so I just lost a bunch of footage and probably money. But anyways, I'm having fun with 22. I had to take a little elevation out of it because the image was a little too foggy. Actually, I'll hold probably 2 or 3 mils, something like that. I'm dialed 39 mils right now. Hopefully you can hear it. Here we go. Hey, that's second round impact. Second round impact at 629. That's not bad. Little low. Oh, that is a hit. It's moving. There's 2 hits. Hopefully you guys can hear that when I'm not using my actual camera. I hope my phone camera picks that up. This 3 for, what is that, 3 for 5? Is that 3 for 5? That's amazing. Did not see that one. It's still a little foggier than I like. Okay. It's a little better. It's also just really dark. It's basically sundown. Okay. Let's do that. Wow, another one. I am super impressed. That one might have been a hit. I could not tell. I didn't hear anything on that one. I could see it move a little bit, but it could have been the wind. I'm gonna load up 10 more and we're gonna try again. Maybe I'll try to amplify the sound with my editing tech here and just make sure you can get those in there. I wish I could set up my spotting scope, but I just don't have time today. The barrel is doing well. I think that's a higher hit ratio. I think that's a higher hit ratio than I've had yet. It's pretty good. At 630, you're definitely lobbing them out there, but a more precise barrel and a better ammo is gonna yield a higher hit ratio for sure. Impact. Just right. That was really close. Oh, man, that is so close. Oh, it's frustrating. Did not see that one. Another impact. Nice. Wow, and I am I'm holding 12 mils right now. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have talked. That was really loud. You could hear that one. Another one. Guys, I am landing more hits than I normally do by far. This is usually lobbing them out there. It's usually windier too. With the can, it's really nice. I can hear those. I can see the target, but it's really dark right now. I can't believe how many hits I'm getting. I really can't believe that. Good job to Wolf Match Extra, or Target. Not even using extra. Close. These are really close. Another one. All right, I got 10 more bullets. I gotta do it. Now, I know it's a full-size IDPA. That might not impress many of you, but if you knew how little of the wind right now it takes to move that bullet around, you have to read the wind right. You have to have a good standard deviation and extreme spread, both. And to lock down impacts like that, so many, I don't know what my ratio is yet. I kind of lost track here, but to lock down a ratio like that, I've shot this so many times with other barrels. This is the best I've ever done. And I definitely need to come back when there's more light and bring my spotting camera and this barrel for sure. This is a winner.